In this demonstration, we'll see how analytic models can be leveraged within the Igloo Interaction Designer. Now, most analytic applications have the ability to export their models in a universal type of format, which is generally referred to as a PMML file. Now, what I'm going to bring up very quickly is a folder on my machine here where I have two PMML files, offer A acceptance and offer B acceptance. So for our example here, within my analytics system, I've created some models and I've actually exported those models as this PMML file. So going back to Igloo Interaction Designer, how can we use that information? Igloo provides the ability to import these PMML files and give us access to those models and the ability to run those models in real time. The process required is what we'll go through right now. So you'll see I have the business logic tab open. Underneath that I have the analytics section selected here. Now you'll see I have a blank project here, so I don't have anything done. Towards the top left you'll see there are two tabs where I can first import models and then use those models or create a representation of them within Igloo. So the first step is to go and import that PMML file, and I'm going to do that by selecting the Store Model button. As I do that, you'll see a dialog will pop up on my screen where I can go and select that PMML file. So in this case, I'm going to select offer A acceptance.pmml, and I'll click open. I can then put some information that's relevant for that model for me within Igloo, and I'll provide it a name. We'll call it offer A acceptance. And then we will also put a model description, which I'll just copy and paste some text, and a version number. And then I'll click OK. So at this point, what we've done is made that model available for use within the designer here. Now the next step to actually use it would be to go up to the top left here and create a new model. And once I create a new model, you'll see I have a list of available PMML models that I've stored or imported, and I'm going to select that offer A acceptance, the one we've just done. And once I select that model, you'll see that the Properties tab on the right hand side is populated with all of the specifics about that PMML file. So just to start at the top here, you'll see there's some general information, for example the model name, the description, version number, and version description, all information that we've actually taken from the model itself. Underneath that you'll see the parameters section. This is essentially what that model expects as inputs in order to provide some type of an output, which in this case is a calculated number or likelihood called a propensity. So you'll see each parameter has a name, obviously, a type, which is what kind of data it is, whether it's a number, text, or a decimal. It is assigned a category as well as a label, whether it's required or not. So not all of the information is required by this model in order to run. There's also a contribution degree, which tells us how heavily weighted each one of those items is in that model, as well as a default value. So if we can't provide this model with a value, it can use a default value that's predefined within that model to run and provide me a set of results. Now all the way on the right hand side you'll see the value column. This is where we essentially provide this model with inputs. Within this Igloo project I have here, I have representations for each one of these parameters that I can actually pass this model to run with that data. So what I can do is I'll drop this list here, and you'll see I have different business entities created for this project, and I'll essentially map those business entities over to these parameters to pass that information directly to the model and run it. So I'll just go through and finish mapping these items. So we have the state there, as well as the annual income, number of family members, and the last one is the average account balance. So the important point to bring home here is this information can be captured real time from Igloo and provided to this model. So what we're doing is taking this analytic model and essentially running it in real time with the most up-to-date set of information that Igloo's capturing from various different resources. Now after we've defined these parameters, which are the input to the model, you'll see the results section towards the bottom is the output. So once all that information is passed, that model is run, what comes back is a decimal number called a propensity, and essentially we can store that in another business entity to utilize within our business logic. And I can define that in the value field here. So I'll open up that value and I'll select real-time score. There's also a prediction field where if a prediction is passed with that model, I can store that information as well. So what you see here is Igloo is capturing some information from these various resources, supplying it to this model, running that model in real time, and taking an output of that model in the form of a real-time score, and then being able to leverage that information, that real-time score, within our business rules.